But they are also cooperating now with the government, the Christian Democrats and the Liberals, who form a government with support in Parliament from this party, the PVV. What do you make of that?
Well, I think you must understand that in politics sometimes pacts, alliances required a certain concessions.
As you know, because you had the ambition as well as to be a politician. No?
But that's part of the normal development of a democratic society. But what cannot be accepted, is that in the name of pragmatism, a democratic political party renounces the principles of democracy and becomes a supporter or an accomplice of totalitarian ideas, of authoritarian ideas, and the kind of populism that is impregnated with racism, for example. And the anti-immigration policies are impregnated of discrimination and racism. So I think this would be a treason to the most essential values that a democratic party should defend. We can understand, the kind of fear, insecurity that terrorism has produced in democratic societies. This is perfectly understandable and acceptable. But I think the political leadership has the moral obligation to open the eyes of the public opinion and to resist the idea of creating scapegoats in order to give a very artificial kind of security, to public opinion.
So you oppose working with a party like the PVV, Christian Democrats, Liberals. They should not cooperate with them?
Well, I think if cooperation means to renounce to basic democratic principles, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable because I think the first obligation of a democratic party is to defend democracy. And democracy is not compatible with racism, with policies of discrimination, particularly with the immigrants. This in the roots is racism again. And racism has produced things like the Holocaust. And Europe cannot forget that the Holocaust was a European phenomenon. It was a European phenomenon, product of racism and product of populism. I think the obligation of democratic parties is to fight with ideas, with reasons, against something that is irrational, something that is not a product of objective experience of what is going on in the world, but of the old instincts of reject of the other, of the refuge, in oneself. This is the roots of nationalism too. Nationalism and racism, the monsters of the past.
So what, in your view, has the Netherlands lost?
Well, I think the democratic roots in Netherlands, as in the most part of the Western Europe, are very solid and are there. That this is more circumstantial kind of phenomenon, but I don't think it should be any kind of complacency with this. I think democratic forces, democratic individuals, democratic institutions should mobilize against what is starting to happen, because if the monster is still young, it can be defeated easily. But if the monster grows and becomes very solid, you can be in a situation in which monsters can take power. It happened in Germany. It happened with Hitler.
Can you imagine that it will happen again in the Netherlands or in Germany now in Europe?
I don't think it will happen, but we have experienced in these last years such incredible things as the collapse of the Soviet Union, for example. No? Everybody thought that the Soviet Union was eternal, and look what happened. That now we know that in contemporary history anything can happen, anything. Even the resurrection of something equivalent to Hitler. It could happen. And it depends entirely on us to stop this. And we are now in time to stop it if we have the courage and the conviction to do it.
Talking about that, how do you rate the reaction of Western intellectuals to the response of these nationalist parties?
Well, I think fortunately there are many, many intellectuals, well, writers, thinkers, teachers, that have been very committed to denounce this, but I don't think this is enough. Unfortunately, in our times, the power of intellectuals is very small. In these things have changed a lot. Singers, musicians, media stars have more influence with the big public than the intellectuals, that men of ideas.
Would you say that being an intellectual, you're almost suspicious as somebody who has not the right vision for the future?
Intellectuals have been wrong so many times. Intellectuals defended communism, for example.
Fidel Castro.
There were very, very clever intellectuals who defended the Cultural Revolution in China. Brilliant philosophers, as Jean-Paul Sartre said that Marxism and communism was the inevitable horizon of our time. So they have been wrong. They have been saying stupid things, and so their credibility has impoverished a lot. But that doesn't mean that intellectuals cannot rectify, make some self-criticism, and defend, the liberal tradition of the Western world, which is the great contribution of the Western world to civilization. And I think what is in danger now is not only politics, it's civilization.
You come from the continent that has Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, Fidel Castro in Cuba. It's maybe a crazy question, but do you see any resemblance between the man who's so popular in this country now, Geert Wilders, and those leaders in your continent?
Well, no, I don't think so, because I think Fidel Castro is a ghost. He's finishing, he's in his last, period, and nobody believes seriously in the Cuban Revolution as a model to change for the better, as a society. No, I think the Cuban Revolution is a corpse already, and it won't survive the death of Fidel Castro. The danger in Latin America is Venezuela, is Chavez. Chavez is a populist that is pushing the country towards the Cuban model, and as he has resources because of the Venezuelan oil, he's investing this to promote his kind of revolution. But what is happening in Latin America, on the contrary, is a democratization of the continent. Now we have very few dictatorships. That's a big difference with the past. We have democracies that are weak, that are imperfect, yes, but in general, I would say that the popular consensus now in Latin America is not for revolution, not for military dictatorships, but for democracy. And because of this, we have now a right and a left that are democratic in many countries in Latin America. This is a great improvement. So I would say that Latin America is moving in the right way at the same time that Europe is moving in the wrong way. So for the first time, things are different,
How would you characterize somebody like Geert Wilders in the Netherlands and his party, the PVV?
Well, a populism that can become a kind of fascism, a modern fascism, so disguised in something which is not explicitly, the ancient fascism, but it's something that moves in that direction.
He says, I'm not opposing Muslims at all. I'm opposing their fanatic religion, Islam, that has brought terrorism on us.
Yeah, but terrorism is a minority phenomenon in the Muslim world. It's very unfair to think in the Muslim world as a phenomenon that embraces terrorism. This is not true, How many Muslims are being killed in Iraq in the last years by the fanatics of Al-Qaeda, and how many? Hundreds of thousands. They are Muslims, they are Muslims. They are not terrorists, they are victims of terrorism.
So what you say is, if
the
anything,
Muslim world is suffering much more than the Western world, the fanaticism of these crazy, mentors of violence like the leaders of Al-Qaeda. But I think we must use reason to discriminate, We must fight, and with great energy, of course, terrorism, without any doubt. And we must defend democratic values and not accept, for example, among the immigrant communities, practices that are absolutely in contradiction with our idea of human rights. For example, equality of women, freedom to choose, your family, and this absolutely, I think, we must be totally coherent with our convictions and with our laws. But to discriminate, to extend it to a whole community, what is prerogative of a small minority is extremely unfair and goes against the basic human rights principles.
Your lecture is called The Return of the Monsters. Is there any chance that the monsters will win?
I hope not. I think this is not a fatidic aspect, no, it's entirely a human event, and it depends entirely on us. If we don't want the monsters to return, we must stop them. We have the power to do it, the power that the democratic culture gives us. So if the monsters win, it will be our fault. We'll be responsible. We'll be accomplices of the monsters. I don't think it will happen, but in order for this not to happen, we must act, we must mobilize, and we must not accept any kind of complicity with people that are producing, against these monsters of the past.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.